Okay, we're on our last day of the kingdoms. Today we're going to talk about animals, and in class you're going to be looking at different examples from each one of these small groups of animals. We're going to start with the invertebrates, the ones that don't have backbones. Some of these you might be surprised that they're actually classified as animals. So first of all, invertebrates are the most abundant animal on Earth. And they live in nearly every ecosystem and participate in every kind of food web, food chain, and outnumber all of the so-called higher order animals like reptiles and mammals. So this first type of animal we're talking about are sponges. Sponges are actually in the animal kingdom. They're in the phylum or the subgroup called Porifera, which means pore bearers. And if you know anything about sponges, you know they have lots of pores. They can soak up that water. They are the most ancient, the oldest kingdom in the animal, or oldest part of the animal kingdom. They are multicellular. They are heterotrophs, meaning they have to eat to get their nutrients. They don't have cell walls, and they contain very few specialized cells. So basically, they don't do much except for eat and filter through the nutrients, because most of them live in water. That is the first type of animal. The next type is the cnidarians. They are in the phylum Cnidaria. These include your jellyfishes, your sea fans, sea anemones, hydras, and corals. These are soft-bodied. They're actually carnivorous. They are symmetrical, and they have stinging tentacles. What you need to remember about this group of animals is that they can sting you, the cnidarians. And that's why jellyfishes, you should stay away from them, because they will sting you with their cells. So cnidarians have the stinging cells, and they're one of the simplest animals that have symmetry, body symmetry, the cnidarians. Next we have the arthropods. The arthropods are in the phylum Arthropoda. Arthron means joint and podas means foot, so that means they have jointed feet. They are the spiders, the centipedes, insects, and crustaceans. They have bodies that are divided into segments, and they have a tough external skeleton called an exoskeleton. They have jointed appendages and structures with legs, antennas, and that extend from their body. The next group are the nematodes, or you can just remember the roundworms. They are in the phylum Nematoda. They are unsegmented worms. They just have one continuous body. They have some specialized tissues and organ systems. They have a digestive tract with two openings, which means they have a mouth and an anus. And they were thought to be closely related to flatworms. The next group is the flatworm. They have soft, unsegmented bodies. Again, they're one continuous body. They're flat, and they have tissues and internal organ systems. They are some of the simplest animals to have 3 embryonic germ layers and bilateral symmetry and cephalization, which are a lot of fancy words. But just remember that they're flat and that they're hollow bodies except for their internal organs. The next group is another worm, the annelids, but these worms have segments in their bodies. Annelus means little rings. So if you think about these worms, they actually have little ring segments throughout their body. The best type of example is an earthworm. Just a regular worm you would find when it rains or in the soil. They actually have little body segments throughout their entire body, and that's why they're in this category called annelids. Leeches are also in this category. Next we have the mollusks in the phylum Mollusca. They include your snails, your slugs, your clams, squids, and octopi. All of these are mollusks. They are soft-bodied and have an internal or external shell. Next we have the echinoderms. These are the animals that have little spines on them. If you think of sea stars or starfish, they are actually kind of bumpy throughout their body because they have these little spines on them. So sea stars, sea urchins, and sand dollars are all in this group. They have a very spiny skin and internal skeleton. They have a water vascular system where they can actually move the water throughout their body and helps them to move along the ocean floor. These are all the invertebrates, the animals that don't have backbones. The echinoderms, mollusks, the worms, annelids, flatworms, roundworms, the arthropods, the cnidarians, those jellyfish, the stinging cells, and sponges. Those are all the animals that don't have backbones. Now, the animals that do have backbones, we actually have a couple categories for them too. About 96% of all the modern chordates, they have a notochord or backbone. They're actually vertebrates that have the backbone that we think of. And many of them are fishes. Many fish are in this category. So our first type of fish are called the jawless fish. They are lampreys and hagfishes, which should be in your screen right now. They both lack vertebrae and have notochords as adults. The lampreys are filter feeders as larvae and parasites as adults. It means they have to attach themselves to another organism in order to feed. Hagfish have a pinkish gray worm-like body, and they secrete a lot of slime, and they can tie themselves into knots. Very interesting. Sharks are another group. They have jaws now, and it allows them to bite and chew their food. So they're no longer filter feeders or parasites. They can obtain their own food. And these fish have fins, anterior and posterior, on their pectorals and their pelvic fins. These fins allow them to control their body movement a lot more than the other types of fishes could. And they have muscles and allow them to give lots of thrust and be able to move through the water powerfully. There's another one class of these sharks actually have cartilage. They're not bones, but they're cartilaginous fish. And these are the sharks, rays, and skates. They're cartilaginous fish. They're very tough-skinned, but they don't have bones. They just have cartilage, kind of like your ear and your nose. The next group is the bony fish. They actually do have bones. Rays, the ray fin fishes have skeletons with true bones. They have fins, scales, and gills. These types of fish that you already know of are like goldfish, catfish, eels, and the ray fin fish. Those are the normal fishes you think of, and they are called bony fish. The next group is amphibians, which you probably already know of, frogs. They are vertebrates that are in water for the reproductive stage, but then they breathe with lungs as adults. But they always have to have that moist skin so that they can breathe more effectively through that moist skin. The next group are the reptiles. They are also vertebrates with dry, scaly skin. They have well-developed lungs, strong limbs, and they actually lay eggs that are in shells, but they do not have to develop in water. They have the lizards, the crocodiles, snakes, turtles, tortoises. All of these are considered reptiles. Birds are our next one. They regulate their internal body temperature, and they have an outer covering of feathers that are strong but lightweight bones that allow them to fly in the air. Many of them have 2 legs that are scaled so that they can walk and perch in trees. Our last group are the mammals. The mammals are unique because they have mammary glands that allow them to produce milk to feed to their young. They also have hair. Mammals can breathe air and have 4-chambered hearts, and they can regulate their body temperature as well. So again, this is a quick overview of the different types of animals. The mammals, we have birds, reptiles, amphibians, the bony fish, the cartilaginous fish, and those lampreys, jawless fish. So in class, you're going to be looking at a few of these different categories, checking their differences and similarities and characteristics. So enjoy yourself, and I will see you soon. Have a great day.